Hi, Fliss here from Hands On Active. I've got a short home sequence for you for stretching for cyclists. So just a little flow involving some Pilates and some stretches to really get into the areas that get tight when you spend a lot of time on the bike. We're going to start in standing and then we'll need enough room to just come down and do some mat work for the last part of the routine. We're going to start standing hip width apart. Clasp your hands together. Push the clasped hands down to the floor, take your chin to your chest, keep your chin down, feel the stretch in the back of your neck as you take your arms up to shoulder height. Breathe in here, breathe out, take the arms up, following with your gaze, splitting the hands and pulling back down with the arms in this cactus position to really stretch the front of the chest. We'll do two more. So clasping your hands, pushing your hands down to the floor, chin to chest, keeping your chin there, taking your arms to shoulder height. Breathe in here, breathe out, take your hands above head, following with your gaze. That's taking us into thoracic extension, getting the mid-back moving, splitting the arms, pulling back down, feeling a nice stretch across the front of the chest. One last time, push your hands to the floor, chin to chest, arms to shoulder height. Breathe in here, breathe out, arms up above head. Really stretching up, splitting the arms, bringing them back down. Put your arms out in front of you, keeping your hips forwards. We're going to do a little bit more work into the middle spine. So breathe in to prepare, breathe out, circle one arm around, looking, following with your gaze. Breathe in at the full extent, breathe out, return. I'm going to do two of these on either side. If you find that you like a particular movement, then you can just pause the video, do it for a bit longer, and then get back in with the routine. If you find an area that really feels a bit sticky to you. So breathing in to prepare, breathing out, circling around, breathing in at the full stretch, coming back to the centre. We're going to stretch down the full side of the body, so we're going to take your right leg, put it behind your left, reach that arm up, and then with your other hand you're going to grasp the wrist and you're going to pull that hand up and over as you flex your body to the side, so you can feel that stretching all the way down through the side of the body, through the lats, through down onto the side of the hip. So there's a muscle there on the side of the hip called the tensor fasciae lata that can often get tight in cyclists and is responsible, one of the muscles responsible for ITB syndrome. So we're just taking 5 deep breaths here. Probably done those already in the time I've been talking. And then swapping over. So crossing the leg behind, reaching that arm up, grabbing the wrist with the other hand, reaching up and over by pulling with your other hand and side flexing the body. Taking 5 deep breaths here. You might notice that you're tighter on one side or the other. It's really common. Oh, that's a nice stretch on the side. Coming back into the centre. We're going to come down to the mat now. So come down into a crawling position. So you're going to have your hands below your shoulders, and your knees below your hips. And we're just going to move through cat-cow, so looking at just a bit of spinal stretching. So as you breathe in, you're going to look forwards and just curl the back down towards the floor. And then as we breathe out, you're going to arch up the other way, let the muscles of the neck relax. And then as you breathe in, reaching forward, letting the back arch. Stretching your shoulders down long away from your ears. Breathing out, curling up. So just moving with your own breath. Just getting everything moving, stirring it up a little bit, getting it loose. And then we're going to combine all of these movements into the disco cat. So you're going to arch up and then come over to the side, and then you're going to arch down the other way, come over to the other side, curl up, come over. As you're over on the side, come down, over to the other side, arch up. I don't think it's technically called disco cat, but that's what we like to call it. And then just coming back to the middle. You're going to put one leg out to the side in this position. You should feel that stretching a little bit on the adductors, the inner thigh muscles here. Put the other hand on the floor. And we're going to reach this arm up, looking at it if we can, so we're getting in a little bit of spinal mobility here. And then as we breathe out, we're going to just post the arm underneath here, not forcing anything, but just feeling a nice little twist in the spine, a nice little stretch on the inside of the thigh. And then as we breathe in, bringing the arm back up. As we breathe out, taking the arm through. So we're just going to do 3 or so here. Again, spending longer on these as you get to know the routine. If you feel like you're getting to some really nice tight bits. Coming back to the middle, swapping legs. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, reaching through. Ooh, that was tighter on that side for me. So it's nice because we're stretching the inside of the thigh and working the spinal mobility at the same time. That was definitely a tight spot for me. And then we're going to come down, just take a few breaths into child's pose. To stretch the inside of the thighs, you can keep your feet together but just spread your knees apart. And then fold yourself forwards, letting your spine and your sternum come down to the mat just as far as is comfortable, and just letting your forehead rest on the mat. If you feel like you can increase the stretch, you can come up onto your fingertips and just send your breastbone down a little bit further towards the floor. We're just going to take 3 deep breaths here. As you breathe out, letting yourself just relax further into the stretch. And then making your way back up. We're going to take a lunge position for the hip flexors, the muscles on the front of the thigh, really important for cycling, often very, very tight. So 90-degree position with your legs. You're going to push down through the back leg, just gently activate it into the floor. Squeeze your bottom muscles and just stand up nice and tall out of the pose. And you should feel this stretching on the front of the hip here. Just swap legs in fact so you can see that a bit better. So you should feel this stretching on the front of the thigh here. And whilst we're in this position, we're going to give our wrists a bit of a stretch because they can often get tight as well. So putting your hands out with your palm facing forwards, we're just going to apply a bit of gentle pressure, again, not forcing anything, just a nice pleasurable stretch. The body doesn't respond well if you really force it into things. Just find a place where it feels like, oh, that's a nice stretch, rather than, oh, I'm going to snap my wrist off. And then we're just going to do that whilst we're still stretching the front of our thighs, still squeezing the buttock muscle on that side. We're just going to reverse the hand shape, so we're stretching the muscles on the other side of the wrist. And then we're going to swap sides. So 90-degree position, activating gently through the back leg, squeezing the bottom muscles, and just rising up and out of the hips. If you want to deepen the stretch, just gently leaning the hips forwards into it. You should feel that stretch more on the front of the hip, but not leaning backwards anymore with your back, just sort of lunging the hips forward. Whilst we're stretching there, we're going to stretch our wrists. Let's multitask. So remember to keep squeezing the buttock muscles because it just helps the psoas, the big hip flexor muscle that we're stretching on the front of the hip there, to relax. And then swapping hand positions. And again, this is somewhere where you might want to take a bit more time once you've got used to the routine, just to really keep holding the swapping between these positions until you feel a bit looser. We're going to come down into a bit of a hamstring stretch. So taking your weight on your hands, we're just going to gently just lean back, Taking your weight now onto your knee, pulling the foot up, you should feel a bit of a stretch through the hamstring here. And we're just going to move gently in and out of it, a little bit of WD-40 if you like. So we're not straining it or stressing it out, we're just gently getting those tissues to move. That feels nice. And then swapping sides, she says elegantly. So we're going to come into that stretch. The hands are here for support, the weight's on the other leg, and then we're going to just come forward into a bit of a lunge, pull backwards to stretch the hamstrings. So we're sort of doing the two opposing muscle groups at the same time. And that's the mat creaking, not my knees. And then we're going to come down into lying on our backs just to do the final few stretches. So you might want to have a little cushion or something underneath your head. You're going to put your arms out to the side. Take one leg straight. You're going to take the other leg bent over into a twist whilst you look over the other arm. That's giving a really nice bit of mobility in the spine and a stretch in the gluteal muscles. Just taking some nice deep breaths there. As you breathe out, just letting the muscles relax. And coming back up and going the other way. So putting this leg straight, taking this knee up, letting the spine twist as you look over the other shoulder. Gosh, that's much tighter in my spine on that side. You'll probably find that you've got tighter bits in the spine on one side more than the other, and muscles that are tighter on one side more than the other. Taking some nice deep breaths. As you breathe out, just letting the muscles relax. Coming back up to the middle. And then to really stretch the bottom muscles, you're going to pop one foot on the opposite knee. If that's enough, then just stay there, because remember what I said, we don't want to really stress the muscles out, otherwise they'll just tense up and they'll never give us any sort of softening. So if it already feels like a really nice stretch, just stay here. If you can increase it, grab the part of your leg here, pull the leg up, and you should feel that stretching either in your hamstrings or your adductors or more down in the bottom muscles. We're going to try and stay here for up to 30 seconds on each side. So glute max, the muscle that we're trying to stretch here, is one of the really big muscles that generates power when you're on the bike. So it's really good to give him a good stretch. And we're also getting into the side of the leg, the hamstrings, and then popping them back down, repeating the process. So swapping onto the opposite leg. Again, if it feels nice here, just stay here. Otherwise, pulling it up, holding it with your other hand. That's tighter on me. And with stretches, we're going to try and hold them for at least 30 seconds. There's no sort of evidence to say that we get any more benefit for just this sort of simple muscle stretching, at least for any longer than 30 seconds. We could talk for days about stretching, but for the purposes of just a simple muscle stretch, 30 seconds is fine. And I'm going to pop the legs back down. And then if you already feel a stretch just in this position, then you're just going to finish your cycling routine by just stretching with the arms out in this position. If you need to feel a bit of an increased stretch, what you can do is get a towel. So I'm going to use my head pillow. So like a big bath towel, so it's quite long. You're going to roll it up, put it along the length of your spine so that your coccyx is on it as well, all the way up to your head. So you don't want the towel to finish here and to increase the arch. You want it to come all the way down past where your spine's on the towel. and then open the arms up. And this just helps to open up the front of the chest, open up the muscles on the front that get really tight and bring us back into that spinal stretch. What you can do from here is to just do a bit of a snow angel arm, as long as that feels okay for you. And you'll hopefully feel it working into that really hard to get to area here, just at the bottom of the neck, top of the mid-spine, which gets really, really tight, and it's a really difficult area to get into. So just gently working into any stiffnesses by just moving the arms in this position. And then just finishing by trying to take 5 minutes in this position just to help gravity stretch all those muscles out. And then at home, if you're going to incorporate any of the stretches just into your normal sort of post-cycling routine, we try and say 3 lots of 30 seconds minimum for each muscle group. Happy cycling!